Hello, 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 family. Welcome to Rubies of Wisdom. For those of you who is here for the first time, I am Camille, Kamil. That's my spelling. But many people has called me, Dr. K, Dr. G. Why? Because I'm a doctor at school, and I will be finished in July. Yes. All right. I know it's been a while. It's been a while since I've been on here doing a video. Yeah, I've been busy. So I'm sitting here in my car, and it's raining outside. It is raining hard. I just came from Niagara Falls, from doing a presentation. So I was on a panel talking about language access, the access to language. And it was so much information to be shared, with the audience. I felt seen. Like when I'm talking about, I felt seen. There was interpreters there too, to provide that accommodation for me. I was really happy about that. I share about, what is language access? So to me, access to language is access to communication, because language is the foundation of communication. It's a part of our identity. It's a part of our culture. It's a part of our heritage. So, it's so important, to know that we need language in order to communicate. We're talking about that. Of course, there were other panels, so other people on the panel, and where they talk about their experience as being a limited English speaker. So, I'm speaking from sign language deaf, hard of hearing experience, and of course, talking for everyone who may be deaf, hard of hearing, deaf, blind, and so much. So, I share the importance of being inclusive, because that is so important, and how organization needs to go beyond just fulfilling a legal obligation. So they should be inclusive. Like, okay, we shouldn't have to wait until someone asks, for an interpreter. It should already be there. Be inclusive. So I share how the goal is for leaders, to become, inclusive, make the invisible, seen, and it's so much. And it was just like, wow. And I share my experience how, many of these organizations, they have these intercom buzzers where you have a person have to push the button on the outside, to be let in the building. Now, that person who's inside the building, they can see me, but I can't see them to read their lips. So communication was a one way. And it would be so frustrating for me. And, I cry, like, why is they not being inclusive? Like, why is this so frustrating? Like, whoa. And I share that experience to everyone, because just imagine, someone who doesn't speak English, and they don't understand what is on the intercom, what is being said, but they know they need to pick up their children from school. So I'm like, we have a lot of work to do. And it was just so warming. Like, my heart was just like full. How I just talk about, the many laws that's out there, how sign language is not a full language, like those laws, needs to change. Like, for example, we have the New York State Language Access Law, which was in 2022, right? So, and that law protects spoken languages, meaning that everything, whatever that person needs, whether interpretation, services for school, hospital medical appointments, or documents, they can have access to that in their language without any barriers, at no cost to them. See, but the thing is, it didn't even include ASL or any other sign languages. There's been talks about it because everyone think, sign language is protected under the disability law. No, there's two different things. Yet, it needs to be protected under both laws. So, because for one, the disability, I can't hear you, or I can't see you. Boom. Second, the communication aspect, which is sign language, that is a language itself. Because there's people out here, who don't speak sign language, who don't speak English, even though everyone said, well, English is part of ASL. Yeah, ASL use English words, but the structure is different. So if someone who's ASL, full-blown deaf, right? And their language is deaf sign language. So it's a different structure. And they see the English on the paper, they would not be able to understand that because of the structure. So what's written on the paper, that's the English structure, which is the norm for society. But for the deaf community, for somebody who's full-blown deaf and only communicate in ASL, deaf sign language, they wouldn't be able to understand that structure because ASL have its own and deaf sign language have its own, structure. So it's many different things, to think about. And I was just like, just sharing that. And, and it was so many things how the audience, they share how they was knowledge aware, about ASL, even when, I brought up about the indigenous sign languages such as Puerto Rican, and I was like, I know everyone's seen, the Super Bowl, and where they had the Puerto Rican sign language. And I was like, yes, they finally see another sign language other than ASL. Oh, yes. So, I brought my personality, at this presentation, so people could feel my energy. Like, woo. Like, okay, because I was nervous, but I had to get it out. I had to talk first. Like, okay, we gonna get this. But the one thing that I didn't do was sign while I was talking. And I know I had made that promise to myself that every time I talk, I will sign. Doesn't matter if the person knows the language or not. They need to see sign. They need to see that language because that language is visible. So that was the only thing that, I wish, I had signed. But I was so nervous and I felt like, okay, I just wanted to hurry up and just talk. But next time, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take my time. Because, people need to know this is my language. And I'm going to take my time. I'm going to talk, communicate. with people how I need to be communicated. Like, if you want me to engage with you, you want me to do the exchange of language with you, you need to be able to communicate with me. You need to be able to exchange the language with me. Because if not, peace. Now, I know there are many, people that I have known, such as my family, they not doing any sign language. They're like, Camille, we raised you as hearers, so we reading lips. So, I got to read lips, but I'm okay. I'm okay. I mean, it's just, I'm not around them as much. But, when I see them, I'm going to use my sign language so they can see that is important. And they may pick up some sign language. Even at work, the top boss, who was the general manager, and he see me sign all the time. And he picked up 2 signs. I'm like, okay. So it's just bringing that change. You making that impact. You making a difference, in organizations, places, people's lives. And it makes them think about, like, okay, their family member or their friends or whoever that they may know. Like, okay, this is what they've been struggling with. This is what they go through. Like, I should pick up some sign language. And when you pick up sign language and you communicate with them in the sign language, like, even if you know a little bit, you will see how that changed their facial expression. They would be like, they just light up. Like, for me, because of my facial expression, I light up all the time. So, I'm like, what? Let's communicate, man. Let's communicate. Ooh, what you doing? How you learn? Where you learn from? All that stuff. And that's when language is important. Access to language is important. Whenever there is language barriers, there will always be a gap and language access. However, there's always room for improvement. There's always room for, closing the gap. And that's important. As leaders, we should strive to close that gap and make language accessible to everyone. So, I'm like, wow. Including this is like part of my studies too. And to be able to talk about it is like, wow, like, okay. This is just the surface level. But wait till you see, you gonna watch me. You gonna see me on TV. You gonna see me on them shows. Watch. Cause, some people, it was like, I seen you on Zoom. And, they was asking you some questions on Zoom. I was like, I don't know. I'll be everywhere, so I don't know. But it's good, to be acknowledged that people are watching. They are watching me like, okay, we watching her. She be saying some stuff. And they learn. I have seen people write notes and stuff. Like, yeah, take them notes down. So, and I know I inspire, many people like, okay, she may be deaf, she may be hard of hearing, but she's going to school, she's a doctor. Oh my goodness, like, just, it just says a lot, and it lets people know you can't put us in a little box. Because I'm not in no box. I'm going to grow out that box. Okay? So, and you see me. So, but I just wanted to leave this here with you all. Remember, language access is important. So find ways to strive, to eliminate those language barriers. Especially if you know me, you would strive to eliminate the language barriers between you and I, so we could communicate, so we could exchange that language. So I love you all, and I will be back on here soon because I got a lot of work to do. I've been writing my dissertation, but I'm almost finished. Then I'm gonna present that. Oh my goodness, my chair is like so excited, like just waiting for the results of this study. Even myself, I'm excited, when I'm writing down these results from the study, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this really going to touch lives, open eyes to many people about these access to services, and for people to understand and interpreters' identities, like how they can service us in a diverse deaf community. So that's it. So welcome. I thank you for you coming to visit Rubies of Wisdom. So, bye.